Good morning, everyone. Weather's holding here in Washington. It's supposed to be a rainstorm next week. Mary and I were supposed to take off today and leave and go on a camping trip for 4 days with our old motorcycle group for a camp out in eastern Washington, but I don't think I'm going to get the truck bed done if I do, so we are passing on the camp out and spending these 4 days working on the truck. We have finally got the headache rack done and moved. It is up on the front of the truck, tied up against the cab out of my way, roughly in position, which really isn't showing on the camera. There we go. And now we are starting on the truck bed proper. Going to start building the superstructure. Figured I'd better pull out the camera and give you guys a view, or you guys will be upset with me. Because suddenly there'll be a truck bed. And you'll go, where did that come from? Okay, anyway, I'm rambling, so my phone's going off. I just texted some friends on the position we were in. Anyway, so that's where we're at. I'll keep you apprised as I build. It's going to be slow going because I got to make sure everything is square and straight going forward so I don't have to cut anything back off again. And we'll do it. Okay, round 2 is underway. I used up another phone a friend, called one of the guys who builds these RV haulers for a living. He's been doing it for 20 plus years. Asked him about the frame rails and what I was looking at with it on whether to set them on the frame rail tight or rather to square them up and let them and shim them if need be. He said to square everything up. It won't affect how it rides on the truck. So he said level them up, square them up, so we did that. I have the first post set and ready to start doing my first tacks. We're squaring both directions to the truck, so it's looking a lot better and a lot cleaner. I've got almost all my clamps in use. I'll probably have to buy some more before I get too far along, but my goal today, by tonight, is to have the 2 front corner posts in, the 2 mid corner posts in, measure the diagonals on those and confirm they're square, and then get the top rails set and everything tacked. Don't know if I'm going to fully weld it today, but at least get everything tacked so it holds. And make sure everything's square, and then we can look at starting to put the midpoints in and the backs and some of that. So I'll bring you back in a minute, or a minute to you. It'll be a little bit for me, and we'll be on the next one. All right, we've got 4 posts in. We are 1/16 of an inch out of square. I'm not quite sure where or how, but that's pretty close. I think it needs to rack that way slightly on this end, which is like a 32nd of an inch or a 16th of an inch. We can look at that. I got to run down the top steel that I got. They cut the wrong side. It was 144 inches on the short side for the bevel, and they cut it on the long side. So my steel's short, so we're going to do a cap on it so that cap the square end. That'll make it the right length. And then I didn't drill for drainage in the bottom of these, so I gotta go buy a 24-inch drill bit and drill down through these so there's a drain hole in them before I put the cap on it. And then we'll go from there. That actually is where I wanted to get to today. If I can get that cap on and everything's square, we'll recheck the cap when it's up there. Make sure we're square on it. I may throw a weld on the back side of this and try to pull, heat it good and try to pull it over just a touch. Let the heat work for me instead against me for once. All right, I got to go to Kent and then we'll figure it out from there. Well, today has been one of those days. If it can go wrong, it has gone wrong. So I got out here this morning to get started, got the rails on the truck, decided it was time to go ahead and fix the Jeep that I broke a couple weeks ago. Tore the fender off picking up steel. So I went and fixed that, came back, put the uprights on, forgot to drill the drain holes that I was going to do first thing this morning. And I have tripped over everything, I have dropped everything, I have forgot to clean stuff so welds weren't sticking. If there was a way I could do it wrong, today I did it wrong. Oh my word. Day's not over yet, but we're getting there. I have one rail on the top, I have the upright posts on. I went and forgot to drill the drain holes. 17-inch tubes, need an 18-inch drill bit. Nobody has one. So I bought a small drill bit with a hex shank, stuck it down, and an 18-inch extension. Stuck it down in the hole, drilled through, and as it went through the tube, it snapped the drill bit loose from the shank and left the drill bit in the hole, stuck in there. So I managed to get the shank back over it, run the drill bit backwards, get it shoved back up into the shank, and got it back out. So then I welded the drill bit. Got that hole fixed, got the next hole drilled. Hole number 3 got drilled. On hole number 4, I snapped the end off the back of the drill bit, which is still in the extension of the 18-inch extension, with its magnetic base and will not come out. I have therefore jerry-rigged every extension that I had to make up, because that, when it went through, it dropped into the bottom and wouldn't come out. So I got the drill bit recovered, but these are not locking. And so if I go through, it's going to leave the drill bit in there. It's going to be a bear to get it back out. I might be able to recover it. So I still got 2 more holes to drill in those tubes. Not sure what I'm going to do with them. Don't think I'm going to do that today. But I'm hot. I'm tired. It's in the 90s out here. And yeah, it's kicking my butt. Oh, and when I brought that piece of steel up and slid it onto the truck, I jammed my arm into the end of the frame down here, and where I had blistered my arms from flipping the headache rack by myself a week and a half ago, I peeled all the skin off my arm. Or about 1.5 inch long gouge. Jammed it into this somewhere, not sure where. So it's been a bit of a day. It's been eventful. These pieces aren't welded on yet. I just wanted to check the fit on everything. My numbers are coming out perfect. I did find another issue. When we had the steel cut for the top rails with the brake angle for the bed, I gave them the measurements for the short side where the brake is at, and they cut that on the long side. So the steel was short. That was another issue that happened today that I found. Did not want to haul that steel back, so I figured out what the difference was, and I got them to cut me some plate in, some flat bar in 2x3 that I basically just tacked on the end of it to make up the difference, and now it's capped. It's just a shim, keep everything square. But yeah, it's been one of those days. If it could go wrong, it has gone wrong. Though we are plugging through it, we are making headway. Everything's looking good. I should probably fire the truck back up because the level is aired up. I should probably make sure the tanks are topped off again. Keep everything square and straight and true. But it's getting there. It's looking. Everything's just tacked. Nothing's hard welded to where it can't be cut loose easily. But we've got enough to hold it. And so far, our upper deck, our uprights came out within 1/16 of an inch of square. I think it has to rack that way just slightly on the back end. Something less than 1/16 of an inch to square it up. Should be able to just do that with the upper deck. I don't think out a 1/16 of an inch in 12 feet. I don't think I'm doing too bad. It'll move that much, just heating and cooling. All right, I'm rambling. I'm going to take a break, drink some water, because I have not had enough to drink, and we'll continue in a little bit. Last 2 holes inside the tall tubes are drilled. I created a monster, but it worked. I got 2 holes drilled, and now I'll drill them before I weld the tubes on. I'll be smarter, I hope. Okay, second rail is on. It's up there. Next I'm going to test fit the pieces back to here. I want to make sure I drill these holes in case I decide to weld these on and forget to drill. I should actually measure and drill all of these holes. Have the drill bit set up. I'll probably do that after dinner. It's almost dark. Wow. Almost sunset. We're going to break for dinner. I am to where I wanted to be today. I'd always like to be further, but this was my goal, was to have these up and square, and that's where I'm at. And we will, I'll get Mary to come out and help me pull diagonals in a little bit, but I would imagine we're really stinking close, because the posts were within a 1/16. I got to imagine we're at least that. So, all right, we'll continue in a bit after dinner. Well, it's time to put everything away and call it a night. We've got the top rails set and tacked and square, and the rear ones are nice and clean, although they're just sitting up there. Nothing's tacked on it yet. I got a couple clamps on the back just so they can't slide off when I start up the truck to air up in the morning and level it back up. But that's where I got today. First of my 4 days. By day 4, I hope to be building a deck up here. So we will see where we get to. So far, everything's coming out really nice. I'm definitely happy with it. So that's the structure. It comes all the way down to the back, ties into the bumper, the hitch. So, well, that's a wrap. It's a night. I'm going to pick up. I will see you guys in the morning, and we'll go from there. Okay, it's morning. Quick for you guys. It's another day of working on Thunder. This is day 2 out of my 4 days that I took off to do this. It's also a fallback day. I've had an issue that I've been thinking on and figuring out what I want to do. We've got a cross brace here that is in the way of the black tank that's got to be built. I've been wanting to move it forward. I just haven't been sure where I was going to go. Finally figured out this morning we're going to move it up here to these holes. I got to do some grinding on this inside weld that was never painted. Okay, and that's how the battery tells me it doesn't want to operate at 2%. So, back to what we're doing. Got to grind this weld out a bit, grind it down, clean it up, paint it, because that never got painted. We're going to pull this out, we'll pull it forward, check the fit. I'll have 1 hole to drill. The mud flaps have to come off, because I'm going to notch and grind and round out this so it has room for the head of the bolt where the front bolt goes. Then we'll put them back on. We're going to take this, get it all cleaned up, and get it primed and painted while it's out of the truck, and then turn our attention back to the headache rack. So I'm going to step backward a little bit today. So you'll see us working on the getting it fit, make sure everything fits properly. If I've got to ream anything, I do have a ream. If any of the holes are slightly off, we can make it fit. We have 1 hole to drill, as we're missing 1 hole on this side. All the other holes are here, so that all works. I'm okay with drilling 1 14mm hole. And then we'll be back on the superstructure again. Got 8 holes left to drill, drain holes up here for the upright posts. I've got to do some measure. Once those are in, I'll look and see which one of those conflict with the angle iron, because those posts will have to get set. So I got to take the angle iron off to get in and weld good underneath. Put the angle iron back on, do them one at a time. And then take one side loose at a time, lay it down, get weld underneath the angle to the beam so it's welded flush all the way down. And then tip them back up, put them back in place, and then we'll start adding more steel to it. I'll make these a little stronger before I tip them, but don't want to put any more steel on it than I have to before I lay it over. So I'm only going to do the upright posts that conflict with the angle for now. Nothing back here conflicts, so I don't have to add any weight back there. Those all clear. So today will be the cross member, because I do want to keep it. I've thought about it, but I want it further from the hitch. I want it further forward, and that also gives me more room for the black tank. So before I build any further, that's today's project. And then we'll turn our attention back to that and getting it to where I can drill all the holes and secure it hard onto the truck. And have the clamps off it. And then we'll start building more superstructure steel. So that's where we're at. That's the direction we're going. And if anything changes, I will let you know. In the meantime, I'll check in and show you progress as we work our way through it. All right, in the meantime, I'm running to Home Depot, go get me some parts that I need. Okay, we took a break, went up, got stuff from the store, came back, had breakfast, and started working on stripping everything down. So we now have all this stripped out and pulled out where I can get to these welds cleanly. We'll work on cleaning this up. I'm probably not going to grind any more than I have to. Probably just right down in this area for the one leg to pass through, and the rest of it we're just going to take the stripping pad and try to strip it down clean and paint it. And we'll go from there. We'll keep you apprised. Show you what we've got when we get to that point. Well, we've made pretty good progress today. We got the inside of the frame all cleaned up, drilled for moving the cross member forward. I've not got the cross member cleaned up. I'll wait on that. I'm not too concerned about it. We actually found that it looked like they missed the seam when they welded the inside, which is kind of weird, but I could be wrong, but I threw a bead on it anyway, just to be safe. So we've got the uprights mostly welded, and the top bar mostly welded. We've got our 2 front angles welded. Root pass fully welded. So there'll be some cleanup to do on that, and then a little more welding. A bunch of drilling for holes. I'm probably going to take the 1/2 inch and cut it down to 3 inch so that it matches. So far everything is staying true and square. We're looking really good on that. This side we have the center angle tacked, extensively tacked, but tacked, and bolts in it to bolt it to the truck. So that part looks good. We'll get this finished up, and then we'll likely lay out this angle, put this angle back on, lay out the angle that attaches to this, weld these in, and then we'll take them loose, lay them on their side, weld the bottom of the angles so that they are fully welded and secured, and then we'll stand it back up, put it back on the truck, and I'll probably have my alignment dowels on here at that time as well. So it really isn't going to move forward much visibly until all that work's complete, because I don't want any more weight on it than I absolutely have to for laying it down and standing it back up. We only did the posts that conflict with the angle because they had to be welded and sanded before the angle could go in and get welded. But it is looking good. I am happy with it. We will keep going and we will keep you apprised. Tomorrow's another day. I don't think I'm going to do anything more than just clean up later today, pick up the tools and things. We're starting dinner now, and it's, I don't know, 7:30 or something, 6:30. What does the phone say? 6:17. So, yeah, likely won't end up back on any of this today, but other than just cleaning up tools. But we'll see where we get to. So far, everything is looking really good. The structure is looking good, and it's all staying true, so I just have to remind myself to let the welds cool before I move on. I'm not good at sitting on my hands and doing nothing. So I've been finding other things to do, like drilling out the other channel while I'm waiting on the one to go. It'll all get there. Holes all dropped in perfectly, so I'm delighted with that. So, all right. We'll be back in the morning and we'll do it again. Okay, it's day 3 of my 4-day weekend vacation, whatever you want to call it, for working on the truck. I have stripped the cross member. I'm using self-etching primer. We have it sprayed and sitting and drying. That'll likely get painted tomorrow and then left to dry to go back on the truck. It's looking really good. I'm happy with that. It's stripped actually really clean. A lot better than I expected. We measured our diagonals this morning, and we are exactly up top what we were at the bottom when we started with everything clamped in. We are about a 32nd of an inch out of square, which that's hard to complain about. I'm not sure where I would even tweak to try to gain a 32nd of an inch. That means one goes out a 64th and one comes in a 64th to even it up. I think that's darn near perfect. I looked at how we've got most of our angles welded, at least to the point that we'll be able to lay it down and get the bottom side. I still got to put my keyways, get them done because they'll do the same thing. They'll go in. I'm looking at my decking and how it's going to tie in with the headache rack. That headache rack still has to slide a ½ inch to the right. I'm modifying that piece that goes in here a second time because it touched. The two sides were not the same, and so I had a clearance issue I had to deal with. That's inside hanging up and drying. These were off by a 1/16 of an inch roughly on height, which would have skewed the deck slightly. Now they're exactly the same. I resolved that by cutting it loose, putting 4 washers of spacers inside, and then welding it back in. So those are now set. Now I'm starting to work on drilling the holes in this and putting the angle for the back on. Get it cleaned up, welded on. We get our keyways, I guess is the best term I know. These things that alignment pins, whatever. Get them welded on, cleaned up, welded on there, and then we can lay it each one at a time down on its side and weld up the bottom side, clean and weld the bottom side, and then once that's done, we primer it, re-primer the bottom, and tip them up and try to get them back to where they are right now in pretty much perfect alignment, which shouldn't be too hard to do. All these bolts are tight. I mean, they drop in by hand, but there's no slop. They're the right bolt in the right hole, so everything should go right back in where it came out of, and it should bring everything right back into alignment. So that part should be phenomenal. Mary wants to go to the store, so we're going to break off here in a few minutes and go up to the store. I told her let me get the last coat of primer on the cross member, which I now done. So I'm going to check on where she's at. If not, I might come back and drill the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes on that side. 1/4 inch holes, and then start upsizing them to 14 millimeter. Everything is coming out phenomenally. I am very, very happy with the results that I'm getting. And I've measured where the holes, the 3/4 inch holes for the hitch go, and they clear everything. They won't conflict with any of the existing holes, so nothing gets keyholed or anything. So yeah, it's coming out beautiful. It's taking a lot longer than I had planned, but slow and steady. Perfection at this point will make it easier as I go further along. Imperfections here will get amplified as I get to the end. So I'm just going slow and making sure everything is absolutely meticulous and perfect along the way. And don't rush, because I can't afford to do it twice. So, but I like how it's looking. It's looking phenomenally. Although I will say this is going to be a big bed. All right, well, that's it for the moment. I'll check in with you again at the end of the day. So blink twice and it'll be the getting dark, and you'll see where I'm at today. Okay. Second side is nearly done. Got a little bit of painting to do. It's all welded, primered, sanded, ready to flip over in a little bit. Ooh, I feel beat up. This kicked my rear today. This was a tough day. Primer's drying at the moment. See, I got a little bit more I can touch up a little bit before I paint. So I might do that once I see where I put the primer. There it is. Rain's supposed to come in tomorrow night. I am out of welding gas. It is at 0. So tomorrow night we are going to go get welding gas and get ready to keep going on. Once I get this flipped over, I can get it reset and squared back up. And then once that's done and it's bolted down, it doesn't need to come back off. I can start welding them together. I can weld the headache rack to it. I can start making it a finished product. So that makes me happy. That's progress. Whew, I'm tired. It's been a long day. I got the plating. I got one side drilled, broke the drill bit. I got 2 more coming tomorrow. So I got to drill the plating for this side, which is 10 holes, 14 millimeter. And then I forgot that I've got to measure and put a hole back here. I should probably mark and drill the frame before I drill the plating, and then just drill through the frame. But not doing that with that drill bit. So for tonight, other than a little bit of painting, we're done. And once I have this back on and squared, I think that will wrap up this video, probably tomorrow or the next night. And then we'll start the next one. So, but we're getting closer. We're making progress. So I will catch you guys up tomorrow. Okay guys, I'm going to wrap up this video with this. It is Wednesday night. Had to think. This weekend we're going to try to get the hitch back in the truck, but for right now we've got the steel ordered to start the bed, the deck. We've got this set back up, tightened down. It's square. It is dead on, all the measurements. I've got my front bar for the deck on here, and I've started attaching the headache rack to it so that it's all going to be solid. I no longer have to clamp the front end of this. Now there's enough weld here to hold it, and there's not a lot. There's a couple inches on each side, but top and bottom, but it's enough. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to hold. And so I'll wrap this up, get this video out, and the next one you see will probably be us putting the hitch in, and then the video after that will be building the deck, starting to build the deck on this. So with that, from Washington, Seattle area, we are out, and we are trying to get ready to get on the road again. So everybody have a good night, and we'll talk to you next week.